All right, good morning. My this morning. Not really. I just right before I was supposed to go live, I had to go to the bathroom, so that's what I had to do. But now I'm here. It's a beautiful Sunday morning here in Minot, North Dakota. By beautiful, I mean it's 25 below zero. It's cold out. When I was up a little bit earlier today, 5:30, 6 o'clock this morning, it was 27 below zero. That's a bit chilly. It gets really cold out. But it's what happens when you live here in a beautiful state like this. Now, again, today it's cold out, very cold out, and other parts of the country are getting hammered with snowstorms, with ice storm, freezing rain. It's too cold for that here. So that's one of the good things about being a part of the country at this time. It's just too damn cold doing that freezing rain stuff here. So I feel very lucky. Hey, good morning, John. How are you doing today? It's nice to see you. I've checked out your videos. Great videos there. You have a great voice. Is that you singing in those? They're actually really good. But I'm sitting here this morning enjoying my coffee. Oh, just thinking back to when I first started doing the carnivore diet, doing a little bit of research that I did on it. And by a little bit, I mean 2.5 months of going through Barry's videos, Dr. TV videos, Dr. Tony Hampton, Robert Siwas, so many people. I went through so many videos. And so many people, when you first talk about a carnivore diet, good morning, Jeff. How you doing this morning? So many people, when you first talk about carnivore diet, they think that all you eat are steaks, and you have to eat the expensive things like this. The tomahawk ribeye. That actually was mine. My son cooked that on his Traeger, and that was right before I actually right after I started carnivore. So it was a carnivore meal for me. That thing was huge, but that's not what I normally eat. I very seldom eat that, especially something that big, that expensive. That's just overpriced stuff there. Eating the standard American diet got me looking like this. This was me at the top right there, Scooter. That was me at our state fair. I couldn't walk for more than 20 minutes. And I was pretty on the left there. That's I was throwing one of my granddaughters in the air. You can see how big my belly was. That was huge. See with the picture on the right, the middle bottom. You can tell how big I was on that. I was a big guy, and that's what their standard American diet, standard eating did for me. It wrecked my body, wrecked my health. Good morning, Heather. How are you this morning? Yeah, stay warm. It is brutally cold here right now. The only good thing is there's no wind. So the actual temperature is 5 below, and that's what it feels like outside. Without that wind, it's actually beautiful. Good morning, Uncle Willie. I missed seeing you yesterday. I screwed up when my Rumble feed. I went wrong. Yay. That was really good. Yeah, I have pictures. Well, I don't have pictures. These are pictures that were taken from my wife, from my kids. I have some of those. I wish I would have done that. When I was doing Insanity, John, I started out, I took my Cincinnati, so I could see how big I was, and I could see the progress I made week by week. I was doing an I didn't do the carnivore diet. I did that to regain my blood pressure. I did track that. So I have that record. I just don't have what happened to me as far as my weight loss went. This is a result of my patients. When I got put on blood pressure meds, I wasn't near this big. I was about 250. So I was big still, but I wasn't near that big. And I got put on my blood pressure meds. Each one that I got put on had that slight side effect. And it was like one of the last things that was on there is weight gain. Wow. I ended up on 5 of them that had weight gain as a side effect, and yeah, got big. Oh, you didn't get notification from me yesterday? Yeah, that's because my screwed up on the Rumble. YouTube, if you do it off the YouTube, you should be able to get it. Hey, Kitchen Witch, uh, Pennsylvania. It is gonna be brutal there. Hopefully everything stays decent enough so you don't lose power and you don't end up freezing too much jump up there because this is gonna be a storm that's going through that area right now. I was just watching some of that on the news this morning before I came in here. But this is what happened when with my diet. This is what my diet gave me. It blew me up. You know? So for those that are wondering how cold it is here, that's freaking cold there. John Together Strong, your top weight was 367. At least that's last. Remember looking at the scale. My top weight, mine was 347. You were 20 pounds over what I was, and that's the heaviest weight that I recorded on a scale. Actually, I got was it a Fitbit scale? So I connected right to my phone and my Fitbit app, and that was the weight the first time I tried using it. And that was in December of 2024. Now, I was probably heavier at some point. Some of those pictures, I was probably going heavier than that. Yeah, that is correct, Uncle Willie. My cousin shared that on his Facebook yesterday. I stole it from him yesterday, and I used it yesterday. And it's even colder this morning than it was yesterday morning, so I figured it was still appropriate to throw that. So, but going back to this, this is what people think you eat on a carnivore diet. They think this is what you eat, just steaks, expensive steaks and stuff. What do I eat? I eat like this. I eat a power bowl. It's a pound of ground beef. I can't remember if 4 eggs or 6 eggs and 6 or 8 slices of meat. Some of them chopped up and put into it. Some of them just thrown up there. And that's I eat a lot of that. Or just ground beef and bacon with some fresh Parmesan cheese, shredded. Good stuff like that. Brisket. Oh, one of my favorites. I learned how to smoker this summer. I learned how to smoke a brisket. This is our Christmas brisket right here. I made this on Christmas Eve. So it was ready Christmas Day. My goodness, was that delicious. And then burger patties and shrimp. It's one of the simplest foods that you can eat, and the health benefits are so good. John says, stay tuned for next week's music video. It's going to blow my mind. Best work yet. Awesome. Looking forward to it. Yeah, awesome videos on your channel, John. You went from 95% fat to sardines. You like it so far? Today's day 5? Oof, da. Today's day 5 was sardine fat. 5 days is a lot. There's some people that have done a long sardine fast. Dr. Boz, one of her participants, one of her groups, did sardines for over 100 days. That's crazy. You got to get over that. Yeah, the only photos that you took from family events, Heather, and the fat shaming is a real thing. It really is. My wife and I got married. We were both heavy, and it's hard to look at those pictures because we were so young at the time and how big we were. But one of the things that eating stuff like this and teaches you on how quickly it changes you, it really makes a big difference in how you feel, how you look, and everything. And this is actually pretty cheap. You buy the ground beef Costco or your local store, and the higher fat you get, the cheaper it is, and the better it is for you. Now, did I eat a lot of steak when I first started? I did, and I still do. But it's not the New York strip steak that you go to the grocery store and you buy. I bought the uh, roast, packer roast, so that I cut my own steaks. This is a New York. This is a strip line roast that I cut myself. Each one is cut from roast. This was $9.99 a pound. Now, you notice that the fat on these is not trimmed. When you look at the fat on a New York strip that you get from the store, and when they go into like a calorie tracker, they get so much from fat, calories, and so much from protein. Well, if you don't trim the fat and you eat the majority of this fat, some of it you can't, some of it's really gristly, but you can still eat a lot of this. You really get an increase in your fat content. Sardines have exposed my lactose intolerance and overeating on carnivore. Yeah, I can see that happening. John says, bright, straight out of mind. Yeah. Heather's saying, John, you will post your music video on your channel. Yeah, subscribe to John's channel. He's got some videos on. Yeah. I love these steaks. And like I say, you buy the strip loin roast at your Costco. This is a choice. It's $9.99. It's cheap. It's not expensive. And something that doesn't take that long to do. You throw it in the freezer for 45 minutes to an hour before you put it up. Firm. You do need a good break knife to do that, good sharp knife. But you can get your steaks cheap. You can get your ribeye cheap. These were $12.99 a pound with the rib roast. This is cheap. I actually have a rib roast in my freezer here right now. I bought it in December, and it was $9.99 a pound. I haven't cut it up yet, but 9 or 10 pounds. It's ribeye for $9, $10 a pound. You find the cheap and you cut it yourself. That's the best way to do it. Jeff, your topic was 198. We're 180 when you started meat heavy keto in 23, doing it for the health benefit. It was like, yeah, that's that's what I did. I did this here for the health benefit. That's what I actually don't have a lot of features that I would like to have, like my insanity workouts. The pictures, and I took the pictures, so it's there. But for this, I had to search high and low to find pictures to show what I looked like before and what I look like now. Now, this is me, and this is what I look like. I mean, these are actually different years, but that's still me, and that's how big I was over that period of time. Now, I started the carnivore diet in 2024. I was 35 pounds a day. I started the carnivore diet. In less than a year, I went from looking like that on the left to 24 pounds on the right here, and I've dropped 11 pounds since then. It's amazing what we'll do for you. John saying Jeff, that's what he did. He wasn't worried about the weight either. Didn't like the fact that he had diabetes. Diabetes sucks. That was one of the worst things. Hey, good morning, Sarah. Stay warm. Yes. Google out this morning. It's actually this morning. It's cold out here. Even sitting here by my window, I got the curtains open just a little bit. I can feel the cold air. It's terrible. Uh, I have come a long way, and my battle is with the health. The greatest benefit I'm getting is with the weight loss that I see that you can openly see. But I've got my health back. I haven't been sick in the last year. Here, 2 weeks if I don't get sick, end up you know with fever and stuff like that. It'll be years since I've had any illness, and it's just amazing how without eating any fruits and vegetables and taking medication, stuff like that, I've remained healthy. I haven't gotten scurvy. Uh, my Anything that has vitamin C. So how am I fending off the cold that's going? North Dakota is actually one of the hardest states right now for this weird flu that's going around. A lot of people have got it, and it's and yeah, I had some issues back in December and the first part of January because I didn't eat like I should at Christmas time. Me some, but I didn't get sick. I did. I was off plan for 4 days. I gained 9 pounds. I've lost that already. My wife ate off plan for 2 weeks, and that weakened her immune system enough that she caught this crap, and she's been fighting now for the last weeks, and it's hard. My son has had it. His girlfriend's had it. My work have had it. I've been exposed to it constantly. I haven't had any issues. This morning you're doing deliveries in 20-degree weather. Feels like a heat wave compared to 37-degree. Yes, that wind chill makes an extreme difference on how you feel when you get out in this weather. 23 below zero right now. The wind chill is 23 below. You can actually go outside and do stuff in that and not feel it. You feel cold, but it's not like 23 below zero with 10 or 15 mile wind where air just strips the heat from your body right now, and you degrees instantly. It's a huge difference. But even in 20-degree weather and 37-degree weather, that wind makes a difference. It is you're behind this morning. Time to run and check to go back this afternoon, hoping so much to have healing like you do too. It's miraculous for what's happened with my wife. Um, we're blessed to have problems and to stick to what we're doing here. So far, you're not sick. Pretty much never sick in my years at Carnivore. Yeah, and that for me, the first. This is the first time that I've gone a full year from October to October without having a major. I had influenza last winter in February, but just the barking cough, sneezing, running nose, all that crap. I stopped taking allergy medicine in October of 24. I haven't. I've used it a couple times just for change of the seasons and stuff, but only for like a day or two. And I've stopped taking it because it didn't seem to do anything, and I didn't seem to have any effects. But I've never gone this long without having a cold. I can just say for the last years, for from the end of September to January, I've generally caught at least two nasty colds and been laid out for a day or two. Or should have been laid out. Stubborn. I don't do that kind of stuff. It's just been amazing. Uh, Heather says she eats ground beef, eggs, a lot of eggs. That's good. Steak, it feels good. And it does. And like when I buy those steaks like this, I bought those two roasts at the same time, and between that and the I buy, that'll last me for months because I don't eat steak every night. I eat once in a while. I prefer actually have the ground beef better. So far, OMAD with 5 sardines is working. Had some heavy cream last night and made stuff for several hours. Yeah. Ooh, well, that's not good. Um, but it is exposing to dairy. But 5 cans of sardines. That's a lot of sardines in one sitting. I don't know if I could do 5 cans. I had a hard time doing two at once. John says back in 2015, 367 down to 215. You were confused. Why keto stopped working? There was not a lot of information back then. Yeah, that's not like there is now. It's not like there wasn't a lot of people on YouTube talking about this, except for cancer and autoimmune. Yeah. Have I considered a remote? I have. Um, I have a little bit, and sometimes I have, sometimes I haven't. I actually have a headset I thought about using actually in my work bag, and I like the mic. It picks up very, very good. I used that last week on here. I should have done it this week. It's on a different room. Right? I didn't bring it out here. Yeah, sugar suppresses the immune system. Sugar and vitamin C compete for the same transport cells. So if you have a lot of glucose in your blood, the vitamin C that you take can't get into the cells it's supposed to. It takes the same transport. So overload glucose and the vitamin C doesn't get through. You control your glucose, very little glucose, and you don't need that much vitamin C then to get through your system. And it makes a huge. Oh, let me try this too. Jeff, I had a couple of windows open in the background, and I didn't realize it. That did to me about a month ago. I had some audio issues because of background uh, or windows that were open. Like after I get done with this here live, I generally go into the Carnivore Quest, and I generally have that set up and ready to go, so I can just swap over. That may have been causing issues. I did restart all my stuff today. Most of the times that works. Sometimes it's not. John, you went back up to 270, and now back to 190 with carnivore fasting. That's awesome, John. And it's nice to get down to that. I can't wait to get into the ones. The other day I was back down to 213. My weight fluctuates from day to day. With this cold snap that we just had, I stopped doing my fasting I was doing because I was cold to begin with, and I get cold when I fast. I don't like doing that when it's 27 below zero. It just makes it unnecessary stress on me and on my body. So I just figured I'm just going to eat for a little bit more here, and then I should be all right. Let's see. John says, yeah, back when you started keto, Barry wasn't even on the scene. Yeah. And it's so many people have been doing that. Like you've been doing this, well, it's 10 years now. So that's about the same time that Baker started doing his. But Kelly Hogan, she started hers a long time ago. She was in the chat groups doing that. And it was just a meat diet then. They weren't really concerned with the fat content. Hey, good morning, Bride's Biscuit. How are you this morning? It's a beautiful, chilly day here. Jeff says, I have sleep issues, have CPAP, and wake up, can't go back to sleep, started consuming half TMC and half teaspoon of honey, half teaspoon of MTC before bed, working so far. Well, that's good. Honey, huh? And MCT oil. That's kind of a weird combination, isn't it? But if it works, it works. I know growing up, we didn't go to the doctor very much. We didn't live in a town. We lived out in the middle of nowhere. You didn't go see a doctor unless you were bleeding or had bleeding profusely and had bones extruding. We hardly ever went to the doctor. Our cold and cough medicine was warmed up ginger brandy with a little bit of lemon and a little bit of honey. And you just take like a shot glass of it, and you down that and then go to bed. That was our cough medicine. That was anytime we had cold or had anything like that going on, that stuff would knock you out. It's just crazy. Good morning, Tammy. How are you this morning? Oh, it sounds better yeah. I don't know why my computer does that. It's just, maybe it's time to get a new one. Too much stuff in the background. With your knowledge, nowadays, you come to realize that all chronic stress of my lifestyle that kept me where you're at. Yeah. Stress is a terrible killer of results for anything. If you're trying to heal and you're stressed, you're not gonna heal as fast or as well as you should. Managing stress is really important. A lot more than I ever thought it was. You usually don't get cold until day 16 of a water fast. Not me. I get, even doing a 48-hour fast, at the end of it, I start to get cold. And I was supposed to be doing 72-hour fast this last week of January. starting last Wednesday. But that's when I actually stopped doing my fast because of how cold it got outside and stuff. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. So I'll have to continue on with that part of my diet here in February because I think next Saturday it's supposed to start warming up to be decent temperatures again. But it goes above zero tomorrow. By the time I go to work tomorrow morning, it's supposed to be like 1 degree above zero. So I can handle doing fast at that temperature. It's still cold out, but it's not nearly as brutal as 27 below zero like it was this morning. And it's just, I think, too much stress on the body, at least on mine. Your mom gave you blackberry brandy NyQuil later on when she noticed the bottle getting lower too fast. Yeah, that's funny because I have a bottle of blackberry brandy in the cupboard because I couldn't find ginger brandy. My mom and dad actually, they moved back up here to North Dakota from Twin Cities, what was it, 15 years ago? And every couple of years they order a case of ginger brandy because they still use it. That's what they use. But blackberry brandy with a little bit of lemon and a little bit of honey in it also helps. Lemon does one thing, honey does another, and then the liquor in the brandy knocks you out. And you watch Dr. Baker, you watch him come on the scene. Jason Fung, all of them. Before keto, you did paleo and low carb life. Yep. And I like Dr. Fung. Jason has got some great information for fasting. I've learned a lot from him. There's another guy out there right now, Uncle Willie. You might want to look at that too. His name is, oh my goodness, I can't remember what his name is. Jerome. And he has a YouTube channel, Finally Fasting. I've been following him for the last couple of months. He doesn't do a low carb or carnivore diet, but he was big like me. Well, he's a smaller guy. He looked for his size like I did when I was my biggest. He was pretty good size for his body. And he's lost his weight through fasting and doing extended fast, alternate day fasting, and short fast, intermittent fasting. But his whole channel is for fasting, and he helps people through with that. So it's actually really good. Brightsby assisted, I noticed I need to start using electrolytes again during your sardine water fast in January. The body responds with different requirements accordingly. It does. I actually didn't have to do anything different for my water fast. Well, my sardine water fast when I was doing that. I didn't have any issues with the electrolytes. And I don't think I had a whole lot of them when I was doing that sardine fast. I forgot that picture up there. This would have been a better picture to leave up there, huh? If you get something, you should leave something up there like a brisket with a nice smoke ring in it. So it just makes people hungry. Love that. So nice. But it's amazing because people think when you go talk about the carnivore diet that you have to have steaks and it's going to be more expensive or you're going to spend more money. And I was actually talking to a guy yesterday, and that's one of his first comments. Yeah, I can't afford it. It's so expensive eating steaks. And I'm like, I don't eat a whole lot of steaks. I show him the picture of the Power Bowl with the bacon and the eggs, and then with just the ground beef and bacon. I said, this is what I eat, and this is what helped me. He looks now like I did in this picture, and the black shirt where I was throwing my granddaughter up. That's what the guy looked like. His belly was out like this, and he had the chins. He had a couple of Mr. Chins going on. And we talked for about half an hour, 45 minutes. And I saw myself in this guy because I knew how he was feeling. I knew what was going on with him because I've been there. And then him thinking the first thing that is it's too expensive. It's not. It's actually a lot cheaper than eating the standard American diet with all the stuff that you end up throwing away. Because again, you do throw a lot away on the standard American diet. See, John says the reason why we get cold when fasting, the body takes that energy to keep warm, to protect. The organs in the brain uses energy for that, and that is true. And that's why I guess I don't have enough brown fat anymore either. Because last year in the winter, when I was doing fasting, when I first started doing fasting, I could go 4 days in the wintertime and not be cold, or not be cold until the very end. Now it happens a lot faster, and it's just weird. I see Bryce says January was the first time doing both fast and reality, so just slower. You've done these fast before. Yeah, the fasts are, I enjoy them. I like watching my ketones. I wish I had a continuous ketone meter. I've got the continuous glucose, but not the ketone. I do need to get one of them. Bryce says it was pretty stable with electrolytes over the past year, actually not using them at all. Just the magnesium at night. Yeah, and some people, you can get that from your foods. Meat does have the natural minerals that your body does need. And a lot of it depends upon what you're flushing with your body. Like when I know when I drink too much water, I end up flushing out my electrolytes and I got to replace them. I've gone days, almost, probably a couple of weeks at one point without taking any electrolytes and not having any issues with it, even while I was fasting. And then there are other times where if I miss an electrolyte, I feel it right away. Your LDL is at 350. Any thoughts on recent blood work? Well, my only thought, and I am not a doctor and I don't give out medical advice. It's not what I can do. I can just let you know that what I've read, don't worry about it. Your LDL, if you're worried about it, you have to find out whether or not you are a pattern A or pattern B. Pattern A, your LDL is large and buoyant, and that's not an issue. If you're pattern B, that means they're small, dense, damaged, and that's could be an issue. But you need to talk to a doctor about that and see what pattern you are. Your body needs cholesterol. Your brain is made of cholesterol. Every cell in your body has cholesterol. And whether you know it or not, the amount of food that you eat with cholesterol really doesn't affect your overall cholesterol. Your body uses cholesterol and makes cholesterol for healing. Seeing you with 350 for your LDL, and thinking that's bad is like blaming the fire department for the fire that they're putting out. Your cholesterol has a purpose, and it got a bad rep by people like Ansel Keys because he took money from the sugar company to blame heart disease on cholesterol when, in fact, they knew it then and they know it now. Most of this is caused by sugar. And that's all it is. But it's not medical advice, but talk to a doctor. I wouldn't worry about it myself, but I'd also ask for the size differential and see if you're a pattern A or a pattern B, and then do the research on the LDL cholesterol, pattern A, pattern B, to see what's going on. Brian's Biscuits says we've talked about this. Last 80-20 ground beef has similar nutrition to a ribeye, even superior in some aspects. Absolutely. And that's the 80-20 ground beef. And if you can get the 70-30 or in between, that is absolutely wonderful to have for your meals. I mean, I don't drain the fat off of it anymore. We used to do that. I still make tacos. Let me show you. I gotta get rid of a couple of pictures here real quick. I'm gonna remove that from the studio. I've still made tacos, and I don't use taco shells. I don't use tortillas. I use this. These are made from cottage cheese and an egg. Half a cup cottage cheese, 1 egg. You blend it up. You pour it on a sheet pan into a circle, and you can make your own tortillas like that. I've made tacos like this. They're simple, they're easy to do, and you can still enjoy stuff like tacos if that's what you want. My wife still likes to have some of that stuff like that, and I don't mind doing that for her. You know, that's taco meat on the tortilla. And I don't drain the fat. So when you do taco, when you add the seasoning, you're supposed to, they want you to drain the fat, add water. I just use whatever fat's in there as the liquid, and it turns out great. Brisby, you wish you had realized this earlier and could have healed a lot quicker. Yeah, I go through the same thing. I kick myself because I didn't pay attention to stuff like this. I really didn't. I listened to what they were saying for our health and stuff, and got sucked into the wrong advice from the wrong people. So Alex, your triglycerides are at 72, which is normal. That's where it should be. And that means you don't have a lot of glycation going on in there. And that's wonderful. With a 72 for triglycerides, I wouldn't worry about it. But that's me. I mean, if those were my results, I'd be happy with that. That's not my heated mug, and that's starting to get cold. Let's see. Jeff says I've started getting nerve jumps. But I just stopped using electrolytes a couple of weeks ago, back on them now. What do you mean by nerve jumps? Are you talking like restless leg, where your leg twitches or your hand twitches and stuff like that? Alex, your HDL is at 94. Perfect. Again, that's wonderful. Between your LDL, your HDL, and your triglycerides, if those are my numbers, I'm happy with those. Yeah. And Heather says, Alex, your cholesterol will go up on carnivore. It's not bad if you're not eating sugar. Dr. Berry talks about this in one of his videos. You're looking for a carnivore doctor to take blood test results. Yeah. It's hard to find a carnivore doctor. Heather, and now it's my doctor, she helped me come off of all 5 of my blood pressure medications. And she was not happy about my diet choice and that I was coming off the medicines. I wonder why. I haven't seen her since. That was October of 2024. Maybe because I don't have to go there every 6 months to get a checkup and then, get new meds. I haven't been back. Well, they're losing out on money on that. That's one of the reasons why they don't teach doctors the right way and what's going on out there. John, you always bulked at fasting for years, but it turned out that's what was needed to stop a long stall. Yeah, and actually before doing carnivore, I would have never done anything like fasting. I ended up fasting because my hunger signals for the ghrelin and leptin working better than they were before, which I never got them before. And I still don't get the leptin saying that I'm full all the time. But my ghrelin, which is the hunger signal, goes away at times and stays gone because I don't need to eat. And that's how I end up doing OMAD. And that's my first couple of times fasting was because I wasn't hungry. Bryce Biscuit says that you're doing this very slowly, especially regarding your weight. Not pushing past 1 to 2 pounds per month, even though you still have 30 pounds or so to go. Yeah, and that's, I stopped my weight loss intentionally starting back in March, and then to June is where I finally stopped losing weight because I lost over 100 pounds in a short amount of time. August to March, I lost 100 pounds. And that scared me. The last time I'd lost weight, I ended up having to have heart surgery. And I had anxiety. Looking back at it and listening to Dr. Ben Bickman here on one of his recent podcasts he did is number 133, talks about nicotine and what nicotine does for the body. And a lot of it depends on how you take what he's saying there. Nicotine's gotten a bad rap. The tobacco industry and health industry has blamed nicotine for being highly addictive and keeping people addicted to the tobacco products. Dr. Bickman basically says that's not true, and that's not really what happened with it. The nicotine has a purpose, and it does suppress your appetite. So I think between my coming off of, because I quit chewing Copenhagen in February, I was doing nicotine pouches, and I stopped taking the nicotine pouches in March, and that was about the same time as I tried stopping my weight loss. And it all came to a head in June where I didn't gain weight, I didn't lose weight. So I was happy. But I think more so it had to do with me giving up the nicotine as why my weight loss stopped. Not because I was trying to lose it, not because I was having more dairy and eating a lower fat food. I think it was just mostly because of the nicotine. That's one of the things I was thinking with Larry, because he's going to be giving up his chewing tobacco here in a few days. I think he needs to really look at the nicotine. Watch that video from Dr. Bickman, because it's not just the nicotine, it's all the chemicals that they put into the tobacco products that is actually doing most of the damage. John says, what you really want to watch out for is particle size. Yep, high cholesterol is okay. That's absolutely true, John. The particle size is what matters, and it matters whether you're the A pattern or the B pattern. Jeff says, Alex, if your HDL to triglyceride ratio is low, don't worry about the LDL. Yeah, and yours is, what was it, 72 and 94? You have a great ratio, and that's a better indicator of health than anything else. So I forgot about doing that. That's a very good point, Jeff. When we shiver, that's when we take white fat and turn it into brown fat. That's what keeps your organs warm. That's what it is. See, and I don't know if I have enough of that right now. I know I've lost a lot of my visceral fat, and I'm still losing it. And that's when you do fast. One of the first things that happens when you start burning fat is your body uses your visceral fat first, and then the adipose tissue after that. So that's good. Now that brown fat has more mitochondria, yeah. So you end up getting more autophagy once you start doing that. Start Looks like you can make taco bowls, Tammy. You know, there are so many ways, and making those tortillas that this is cooked on, this is really simple. It's a half cup of cottage cheese and 1 egg blended till smooth. I put it on parchment paper and a cookie sheet in the oven at 390 degrees, and it's 20 to 25 minutes until it looks like that. And then they're absolutely delicious. And you can make a bunch at a time, or you can, do 1, 2. They're really nice. You can make them round, you can make them rectangular to make a wrap with, and I enjoy those. My wife loves them too. Heather says it's a journey to do trial and error. That's why they call it a carnivore journey. Yep. What a ride. Absolutely. And speaking of the carnivore journey, there is a carnivore trial, medical trial going on right now, and random control trial that's being done in Canada. Dr. Baker was on with Jenny Middich, and he was talking about that just the other day. They funded a trial for the carnivore diet, and it's happening in Canada right now. Brad Spesky says, with healing of experience, especially over the past year, you don't have any regrets. And Kerry Mann's dream last night, he said about regrets, and I reflected on it. I have not watched the regrets video from Kerry. I'm gonna have to check that one out. Sorry about spelling. That's fine. You're doing voice to text, and see, I can read this here, and I know exactly what you're talking about because my wife does voice to text too, and it's fun watching how it spells some stuff. Just as your whole body tenses and then relaxes, usually just once it's physically is visible. That I'm not laughing at you, Jeff. I mean, that is unusual. See, I suffered from restless legs for years, and most of it was when I was tired. They got really bad, but at times it was just my legs would just go nuts at all times. My mom takes medicine for it. In the last 17 months I've been carnivore, I really haven't had issues with restless legs. Maybe once or twice in that time, and that's being overtired. You have a contentious relationship with doctors, but they give you whatever you ask for. It's not ideal, but you're okay with it. And yeah, how's this for a story, Uncle Willie? My daughter was in an accident a few years ago, a car accident, and she ended up with, she broke her elbow. So she's got hardware in her arm now. She's got a metal plate and screws and shit in there. At work here recently, she fell and re-injured her elbow. It didn't really do anything to the hardware or whatever, but what it did is it ended up causing a bruising, and then it got an infection. The infection was treated. The doctor told her if it'll go away. If it comes back, to call them right away. They'll get her another prescription for antibiotic, and then they'll schedule her for surgery to remove the actual plate that's in her arm, because that doesn't need to be in there anymore. And he believes that's what the issue is. So the infection came back. She called the doctor's office. She was told, well, the doctor and his nurse are in with a patient, and we'll have them call you back. They didn't call back that day. My daughter called again the next day and basically got the same story. The third day, she called back, and the doctor was just coming back from lunch, and we'll have him get in touch with you. She's like, he's coming back now? She's like, yeah, fine. I'm on my way. She hung up within 2 minutes. Before she could leave the house, the doctor's office had called, the prescription for antibiotic had been called in, and they don't need to see her. She wasn't taking that bullshit for an answer anymore from them. But you have to advocate for yourself, because the doctors aren't really looking out for you. Your doctor recommended go see a cardiologist because she'd never seen numbers like yours. Alex, your numbers are, for me, again, I'm not a doctor and I don't give out medical advice. But I'll tell you, if those were my numbers, I have absolutely no problem with them. The only thing I would request would be to get the differential to see if I'm pattern A or pattern B. And if it comes back as pattern A, don't worry about it. It's cardiologists haven't seen numbers like that. They've seen mine before, and mine were terrible. She said your lipid panel came back extremely abnormal. The LDL came back as greater than 350. I'm not sure if that was a lab error or if your cholesterol is truly that elevated. It could be that elevated. The more healing you have to do, the more your cholesterol goes up. And the LDL is what transports. See, and I believe this is Dr. Berry I learned this from. Dr. Berry or Dr. Chafee, or it could have been Kiltz, or any of the number of carnivore doctors. Cyrus, Tony Hampton, all those guys. Your liver produces your LDL, your cholesterol. When your LDL comes out of your liver, it's large and buoyant. It's bringing that cholesterol to your body to heal, to do what your body does with it, right? So it leaves at one size and it comes back as a small size. There's a receptor on your liver and it fits into it. And it gets reabsorbed and it comes back out again, large and buoyant, to go deliver the payload to the rest of your body. That's not a bad thing. Even having the smaller particle size isn't a bad thing. But having more small particles than large is where the issue comes in, because when the LDL is in your bloodstream and you've got so much sugar with high triglycerides, which yours are not, with high triglycerides, it soaks the LDL, even the small LDL, with sugar, so it glycates it, and then that damages it, and it doesn't fit back into the receptor in the liver, and it just wanders around the blood until you do some fasting and your body eats it. So having that is not a bad thing, and it's really, I know at one point I freaked out with my doctors when I was in the military. I had to do the blood work like that, and I got a call back. I had to go in right away. I mean, to the point where they called my command and made me go back in to see the doctor, just so he could tell me you have to come back in 30 days because we have to redo your blood work because there's no way your cholesterol can be this high. Well, yeah, it was. I was young and dumb and I ate whatever the hell I wanted to eat. But, I drank a lot of Mountain Dew. I drank a lot of stuff I probably shouldn't have. I had a lot of calories from my drinks, and that's just not good. But that's what happens when you eat the wrong stuff. My triglycerides were high. My LDL and my HDL. My LDL was high. My HDL was low. Triglycerides were off the charts, and they were worried. Well, I ate just straight single ingredient foods for what was it, 30 days or 29 days or whatever it was I had to before I took the testing again. I ate nothing that came out of a package. I ate fresh fruits, I ate fresh vegetables, and I had fresh meats. Nothing that came out of a package. And after 30 days, when they retested everything, I was normal. So it doesn't take that long to get to normal. Yeah, you agree about Larry. I worry about that because I know what it was like when the first time I quit chewing Copenhagen is the first time I hit 300 pounds. And I went from probably 225 to 300 pounds in a matter of a year. I was absolutely miserable. When I started chewing Copenhagen after that, and I'd stopped for 5 years. When I stopped chewing Copenhagen after that, I didn't change anything and my weight dropped again. I lost 50 pounds, not even trying it, just because I was chewing Copenhagen again. And it was probably because of the nicotine. The truth that you figured out a long time ago is that doctors don't know how to read blood tests. That is true, especially for somebody on carnivore and keto. And that's one of the things I'm hoping with this trial that they're doing in Canada, that they're going to get some good blood work information so that they can have that to go off of. That would be absolutely amazing. Your hemoglobin A1C, 5.4. Perfect. So you're not diabetic, and that reflects in your triglycerides being as low as they are. So your blood work, to me, if it were my numbers, I would be very happy with them. And I see John Together Strong says that's awesome, and it is. Your doctors hated your diet and fasting, but they were shocked cancer stopped growing. And what's really sad about this, Sarah, is doctors know it. There's literature out there, there's studies out there that show cancer thrives on glucose. Ketones, no, but on glucose it does. Not all cancers, but you want help with your cancer? A ketogenic diet is tremendous. Hold on for just a moment here. All right, that was my work. Stuff happens. That's why I got a work phone. But yeah, ketogenic diets, and there's literature out there, there's studies out there, and they've known this for years, that if you eliminate glucose, it starves cancers. So why don't they do it? Because there's no money in doing that. That's why. Jeff says, Alex, my numbers are similar and you're happy with them. Absolutely, I would be too. But those are actually fabulous numbers. Sarah says, Bright Biz, I'm losing weight so slowly. Went so fast the first time on keto, but you're grateful. I'm still losing weight. And even if it's not as much as you are expecting, I've learned that I can't compare myself today to what I was doing a year ago. I don't have the same body. I don't have the same metabolism. My body's different, and my whole Everything is different, and it makes a huge difference. Holy cow, Uncle Willie. You had 3,300 triglycerides 10 years ago? I didn't know they could even get that high. Me thinking mine was being over 400 was bad. Okay, Uncle John's asking, Alex, how is your HSCRP? That's a marker for inflammation. Yep. As long as that's good. Shellbell, so nice to see you. As a marker for inflammation, that just lets you know how your body is responding to stress, inflammation, stuff like that. Oh, no life for Carnivore Quest. They lost their internet connection. I was actually looking at the radar for their area just to see what was going on. It's such a nasty storm that's going through that area right now. Well, it's good to see you too, Shellbell. How are you doing today? Now, where are you at, Shellbell? I don't remember. Are you in this storm like so many people are? Ooh. But yeah, your cholesterol LDL were high 10 years ago. Mine was high just a year and a half ago. Mine was astronomically high. Yeah, you are in northern Kentucky, so you're right in the heart of where all the nastiness is coming through. Brycewick says the healing is happening ahead of weight loss. That's okay. And that's, 2 more pounds and you'll be the lowest you've been in 30 years. And you're extremely grateful for that. And you're right where I am on that too, Bryce Biscuit. My lowest weight so far on Carnivore Diet is 213 pounds. I was at a couple days ago, not today. Yeah, you want me to be honest? Today I'm 219 pounds. I'm 6 pounds heavier than I was 3 days ago. But I've also had a lot more stress these last couple of days. And you know what happens when your body is stressed? Am I going to lose it again? Oh, yeah, I know I will be. But when I get back down to 213, my lowest weight in over 30 years is 212 pounds. And that was when I was doing insanity. If I get under 212 pounds, I haven't been that in over 30 years. So 211 is going to be a big day for me. It's going to be a big mark. And then getting into Wonderland, getting down to the 100 pounds. I can't wait to do it. I'll be so excited. The autophagy clears out old damaged mitochondria and recycles them. Later, your body builds newer, more efficient energy factories. Absolutely. And that's one of the great things about autophagies. So many things heal. Like this right here. If you look at the picture, I don't know if you can see it on this. No, you really can't see it. The one on the bottom when I got the Pooh Bear in my in my pocket, that picture right there on the original picture, and I don't know if I have it in my files here. That picture, you can kind of see my hand and how bad it is. I don't know if you can see it in here. The gray ashy part of that, my whole wrist from my watch down to into my fingers, you can see that it's that ashy color. Now, right now, I have just a little bit of dryness right here. As you can see, the rest of my wrist is absolutely normal. That started happening when I started fasting. Every time I did a 72-hour fast or longer, that got better. So it's actually really cool. And Uncle Willie, you're in Louisville. Oh, you guys are all getting hit with this here. That's just nastiness. Laney and Oz from Western Australia. Week 1 of Carnivore. Congratulations. And hopefully you're doing well on it, eating enough fat so that your body can start healing. Don't give up on it if you end up with loose stools. It happens. Most of that is your body transitioning from the carb diet to a fat diet. And once you get over the sugar addiction, they call it keto flu. It's sugar addiction withdrawals. Once you're over that, it changes quickly. John says, hello, Laney. Bryce Biscuits. HbA1c inflammation markers, HOMA-IR, kidney filtration, liver enzymes, Hashimoto's antibodies, all consistently moving in the right direction right now. That's wonderful. It is so nice to hear that, Bryce Biscuits. It's nice to see that people like you will share that in comments like this, so other people like Lainey can see what happens when you eat a proper diet. It's not just about, like me talking or Larry talking or anything like that. These lives where people get involved in the comments help others to see what can happen with this. Let's see, we are the same weight. We've got to get off this train, Lance. Yep. You really need to opt out of cheese and at least cut away way back. Yeah. Michelle Bell, are you using like soft cheeses, cheddar cheeses and stuff that is squishy, can break easy and stuff like that? I found that for me, if I use those cheeses, I have issues. They're way too addicting, first of all, and my body doesn't do well with that type of cheese. The hard brick cheeses like the Parmesan oregano, or whatever, the big hard ones that you can't really slice, you got to shred to make it work. Those seem to work all right for me. And I've actually been thinking about buying cheese from some dairy from Miller Biofarm. They sell it for pets because you can't sell human consumption raw products in the state that they're in. I think they're in Pennsylvania, but they do have some good stuff there. Jenny Mitch did a video the other day about using their products, their dairy products, their heavy cream, kefir, I think yogurt, and then like cottage cheese and stuff like that. And she had some really good results. But her body does different stuff with it. She's checking her Hashimoto's with that, and her numbers actually improved using the raw dairy. Bryce Biscuit, you were at your lowest 2 weeks ago. Last after starting a water fast. You're back up 4 pounds now, but that will course correct over the next month or so, and it will. And that's not so concerned about gaining and losing my weight right now, because I know I'm going to gain weight. I know I'm going to lose it again. I would just like to get down there so that when I'm gaining the weight, it's only gaining up, maybe a pound, and then I lose 2 or 3 pounds and I can gain another pound or so. I'd rather be up in that area, but just knowing that through the course of a week and not doing anything different, I still go down to my lowest weight, and then a couple days later back up to my heavier weight. It's all good. I'll use fresh bricks of cheese. That's good. Have you ever tried raw cheeses? Some people do really good on those. Lane says, hi, everyone. Thanks. You definitely need to keep going with this way of eating. You have so many food intolerances that cause lots of pain and gut issues. Absolutely. And you're going to find that as you go through this, once you get adapted to a high-fat diet, and carnivore diet is a high-fat diet. You hear a lot of people talk about being a high-protein diet, and it's not. It's high-fat. And by that, I'm talking about calories. When I first started my carnivore diet, I tracked my calories. My hunger signals. My ghrelin was always active. It was always telling me I was hungry. The leptin, which is supposed to tell you that you're full, I still have a hard time with that one. Sometimes I don't get that signal still. But I track my calories from fat, my calories from protein, so that I could see that I was getting between 70 to 80% of my calories coming from fat. Now, I just took that picture out of here because I put this one in. I want to show you a picture of a steak. And the steak I'm going to show you has a fat content of 75% of the calories from fat to 25% of the calories from protein. And that's a ribeye. And that's that bottom fat cap the big fat cap there. You take that off. And then the rest of it is just, it's in 75, 25. The ribeye is about as perfect as you can get for the protein and fat. This is a health food. One of the other ones that I truly love to have is, this is called a Power Bowl. It's just ground beef, ground mince, eggs, and bacon. And you don't drain the fat off of it. You keep the fat in there. You can also throw some butter in there for additional flavor for the eggs and stuff. See, I got the scissor in the background because I was actually using the scissors to cut up the bacon. But this is a proper human diet. This is a proper carnivore diet. You know, I eat a lot of ground beef patties and shrimp because it's delicious. You know, ground mince and bacon and Parmesan cheese. These are simple carnivore diets, carnivore foods that you can eat, and they do the body so much. You just make sure you keep all the fat into it, and you'll be really good with that. That's where it needs to be. You love Miller's? I haven't gotten anything from them yet. I have their site bookmarked on my browser. I haven't pulled the trigger to do it yet. Oh, your downfall with cheese is the bread cheese. Yeah. I don't know what to say about that. Don't buy it. If it's something that you have a hard time with in the addiction, because dairy does have that casomorphine in it, which is very addicting. Oh yeah. Wendy O agrees with you, Shelbell. See, Brisby said I was one of those persons. I was one of those persons, Lands, that focus on wait for decades, thinking it was the end all be all. Weight is what the symptom of the disease. It was a cause. Yeah, wheat. Yeah, you're focused on wheat for decades, thinking it was the end all be all, and the wheat was a symptom from the disease. You have to get the wheat out. Most people don't understand how bad that is for you. I never did. I probably still don't understand how bad some of this stuff is. All them flavors to choose from. Yeah. Wonderful cheese. And the complications from weight will resolve as you heal and shed adipose. Yeah. Once you start eating properly and your body can start healing and you can start dumping and getting rid of the toxins that are in your body, it really helps out a lot. Yeah, it's all right, Bryce Biscuit. We can understand it. So you do try when you can afford the raw cheeses. I still want to try it. What was it? La Gruyere or something like that. They sell at Costco. Last time we were there, they didn't have any. And see here, John Together Strong started at 367 pounds. He's now at 190. 12 years keto, 9 months carnivore, reversed diabetes, fatty liver, heart disease after a 5X bypass. That's truly amazing. No glasses needed anymore, and the mental clarity improving daily. That is a tremendous testimony to eating proper. It is absolutely wonderful to see that happen, John. Congratulations. And Lainey, that's what happens when you eat this way. And it doesn't take a long time to do it. I was taking 5 blood pressure medications when I started. And within 6 weeks, I came off of all 5 of my blood pressure medications with my doctor. And that's why I started doing this diet. I did this diet for a 30-day trial to see if I could help my blood pressure. 6 weeks, and I was off of all 5 of my medications. And I haven't changed my diet. I haven't changed my lifestyle since. And that was August of 2024. Yeah, Jenny is a queen of N equals 1. Her tests are so valuable, and we should all do them at some point. Her raw video was very revealing. It was. It really shows what can happen with stuff like Hashimoto's, because she does the testing, so she knows what she's talking about, and she gives the results, good or bad. And her Hashimoto antibodies, or the antibodies, whatever they are, the marker greatly improved after just a few weeks of trying it. It was amazing. Yeah. Take care, everybody. If one decided to do an update, wiped out all your apps. Well, have a good weekend. Stay safe. Stay warm. If you got to go out in this crap, be careful. Cosmic Jester. How you doing, Jester? It's nice to see you here. Stick to hard cheeses and only use them as condiment, adding a tad of flavor to something. That is one of the biggest things to do with the cheese, and it makes a big difference. For World Carnivore Month, I was doing the rolling fast with this cold snap that we have here. This morning it was 27 below zero. Before we hit that cold snap, I decided that I'm not going to fast during this cold stuff, and which I was doing fasting. Then when I was refeeding, it was a lion diet, ruminant meats only. I stopped doing that too with this year. So this morning I got to have a sausage, egg, and cheese omelet this morning. So nice to have. It really does taste delicious. You see so many carnivore meals with cheese and eggs, but you can't have dairy or eggs. So basically just eat meat and seafood. Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to. One of the things that you're going to find too, Lainey, is just because you can't have dairy now or eggs now doesn't mean that it's going to stay that way. A lot of people, once their body starts healing and you get rid of the toxins from all the plants that you've been eating, once your body heals, a lot of times you can go back to having stuff like that. Some people have trouble with just the egg whites, and they can still have the egg yolks. Some people just never get over the thing with the eggs. Dairy, it's the same thing. Some people, like Jenny Minich, she can't have pasteurized milk because it affects her body. She did a test with raw milks with Miller Biofarm stuff, and she can have that. She didn't have any issues, no inflammation, no breakouts, and her Hashimoto's markers improved while she was doing that. Check out Jenny Mitich, Mititch, I believe it is. She's got some great videos. She does a lot of testing on herself and her husband for blood markers and stuff like that. Yeah, she's got some great information. I really enjoy watching Jenny's channel and getting the information that she's been doing. I'm going to put this in the comments because I watch Jenny's channel. I've been watching her for the last few months. Can't believe I didn't know about her before. We need to get a directory of carnivore influencers that people should watch. Jenny Mitch is one of them. She's got some great information, and she does a lot of good testing. Bryce Biscuit or Organic Valley makes raw cheddar that's available on Amazon. Really? I have to check that out. Yeah. Old fashioned office, huh? What is that? Right. When was the last time somebody used a pencil and a piece of paper to write a note? I've seen lots of her videos. She is great. She is. Like I said, I've just recently found Jenny. And she has some great stuff that she puts out there. Best channel for thyroid. Um, Jenny does have stuff on hers about her thyroid. So I would look at Jenny Medich, and then Dr. Barry. He's got stuff on there all the time about different things. And there's still a lot of people out there that are dealing with thyroid issues that are putting information out. I can't think of who they all are. Like Rock and Coach Amy does. I'm not 100% sure on that, but there's a lot of people that put stuff out on thyroid. I know Dr. Barry has some information out there on that. Jenny does have information out there too on it. So it's out there. Oh, what else we got going on? Again, this is the temperature here in North Dakota. It is brutally cold. My computer still says it's negative 20 degrees out. It's just freaking brutal out there. Yeah, see, Shelbell says, to be honest, I wish you had never invited anything back into your body. Should have stayed on course with this way of eating. You're very upset with yourself. You're human, Shelbell. That's what we do. You know, I've been pretty strict on myself for not doing stuff, and over Christmas time, I made a conscious decision to actually have some foods that I shouldn't have had, and it affected me. And I ended up gaining 9 pounds above what my uh, average weight would have been for the month, which really shocked me in just 4 days. Trying to get back into it, it is difficult. It is hard. That's one of the reasons why I did my fasting. When I do my fasting, it's easier for me to eliminate stuff and to get stuff out, because when I go back to eating, I want to eat the right stuff to fuel my body after doing a fast. So it makes a big difference, but it's up to you now. I mean, yeah, you invited bad foods back into your body. It's up to you to just say, no, I'm done with it. And it can be hard to do, especially after depriving yourself of them and trying them, and they taste good. People like them. And that's part of the issue with the addiction with them. You reverse your wife's hypothyroidism. That is amazing too, John. And I'm glad my wife doesn't have that, but she has reversed her type 2 diabetes, and she's so much healthier now than she was before. We must be having the heat wave in my part of North Dakota because my car says it's -9. You're so lucky, Jester. Your car only says it's 9 below zero. That is a heat wave. My phone right here in front of me still says it's 20 below zero. AccuWeather. Well, AccuWeather is saying it's actually 28 or 16 below with a negative 28 real feel. So it's just brutal out there. Mitophagy, your cells tossing out busted mitochondria. This focus cleaning up now, recycling weak power plants so your body runs stronger and cleaner. And that's all part of the fasting. And the fasting does the body so much good. There are so many resets in your body and certain markers in fasting too. Your immunity, you get a boost in your immune system once you reach a certain point, and it's not very long. So just doing a 48-hour fast can help increase your immune system and maybe help with this crud that's going around. Buttered popcorn was your thing. You had it 4 months ago and felt drunk afterwards. Yeah, it's having those kind of things. It's amazing how you feel if you've eliminated something like that for a long enough time and then you try it again. You know shortly afterwards whether or not your body agrees with it. And I've had that issue with some seasonings where I felt like I got hit by a Mack truck after having them. It sure makes it harder. It does. Well, the carbs, low nothing with sugar. Carbs make you tired and sluggish, but the cravings are off the chain when you really was past all that. Yeah. When you get past it and then you have some and then you get, oh, it is rough. My wife goes through that and I see her going through it. The first few days after Christmas when I started fasting again, it was rough. I had issues. It's not fun. I'll show what you were at home ed. Now you're back to eating brunch and you feel like it. You eat way more than you did the first year. You might need more. Maybe your fat content needs to go up or down, depending upon how your body's doing. Sometimes you have to decrease the amount of fat. Sometimes you have to increase it to get back into the healing mode for it. Holy smokes. Lainey says where her husband works, it was 45 Celsius last week. You think that's about 150, and that's pretty close to that. That's hot. I would not want to be outside working in that temperature right now. It's absolutely crazy. Bridesmaid says it took many months to reduce the food noise, even under strict carnivore. You had to deal with aversion at the same time too. Yeah, and the food aversion, the meat aversion that's a rough thing to deal with anyway. I've only had it a couple times, and again, the easiest way for me to deal with food, with a meat aversion or food aversion where nothing looks good, is just to fast. If it doesn't look good and it doesn't sound good to you, I just don't eat it. Shelbell says that your love is working in Denver game day. Yeah, that's coming up today. I'll be doing some cooking just a little bit. Oh, actually, I don't want to do that. I wanted to delete this one and remove this from the studio. I got this idea from Larry and Aaron a few months back. I'll be doing this here for game day today. I'll be making homemade hot wings, buffalo wings, Frank's Red Hot and butter for the sauce. It's absolutely delicious. This will be for the games today. And I got a big pack of the wings like this right here that's on the screen. And then I've got more drums I'm going to be doing. Bigger chicken drummies. Absolutely delicious. Season them up that way my wife and my son and whoever else shows up can have some of that too. Bryce Biscuits says that was decades of carb addiction did your hormone and pleasure centers. Yeah, it really wrecked them, didn't it? I mean, if you think back to when we were young and they came out with this USDA food pyramid back in the 70s, I was young and in school at that time. And that's what they started teaching us. From that point on, from the mid 70s, like 1977 until today, you can see the drastic rise in obesity and type 2 diabetes and all the other diseases that are going on. It all started back then, or a large part of them. Some of them started when they started putting seed oils out to cook with. So you taking off was your strategy. You could not interpret it as undereating in the case as sometimes suggested. Yeah. Undereating does have an issue with some people, but not everybody. Some people have to eat more. If you're undereating, you're going to have issues losing weight. Same with overeating. But the biggest part with the carnivore diet is making sure that you get the proper amount of fat. Eating the fatty red meats. Chicken is not a fatty red meat. Pork, depending upon what cut of pork you're eating, it can have the proper amount of fats on it. Pork steaks are generally pretty damn close. They're about a 70-30, 69-31, something like that. And they're really close. But pork tenderloin isn't. It doesn't have the fat. Same with a beef tenderloin. It doesn't have the fat. You have to add more fat to it. Oh, a 28-hour drive from here at home. Oof, that's a long drive. I hate those long drives. You're having hot wings as well, mixed in with butter. Yep. They are absolutely delicious. It is one of the best things that I saw. And I can't remember if it was Larry or if it was Aaron that I saw the video that they were doing these, and they did them about the same time. But that's where I got the idea from, was from Larry and Aaron. Bridesmaids, you don't follow sports? We'll be doing some recipe today. Yeah, Frank's butter and wings. It's absolutely, it's a Sunday meal, is what it really is. Super Honey Crisp was called Sugar Crisp when I was a kid, right? Absolutely, because that's all it was sugar. They got to make it sound better now by calling it honey. Hey, making you hungry now, Tammy. Well, hey, as long as you eat proper foods, that's fine. Be hungry, eat meat, be happy. Actually, one of these days, I got to get this here hung up behind me here. Eat meat, be happy. There's a cutting board my daughter made for me. Maybe if I put that up here, put it down on the shelf there, I'll remember to get the stuff, because I want to actually put it either like right here or right in this area so that it's in the shot whenever I do stuff. I think that's an awesome cutting board. You lean into fat when you started to. Never did chicken breasts or even lean sirloin. I haven't done eating chicken breast since I started the carnivore diet. My wife still eats chicken tenderloins, but she uses a ton of butter. But there's just not enough fat in chicken, and then lean sirloins, there's not enough fat in it. You have to add more fat to it. Let's see, Elaine says, better go. It's 1:30 in the morning there. Couldn't sleep and notice you were live. It was nice to chat. It was nice to talk to you too, Lainey. Sleep well, and you can come back anytime. Shell Bell says, when she eats chickens, you have to have red meat alongside in order to fill up correctly. Yes, because you can really eat a lot of chicken, and you just don't get filled up like you should. Tammy's, you have to eat what's in the house right now. Can you eat lean meat and add butter to add fat? Shell Bell is right there. And yes, you can. And that's one of the things that if you're cooking a leaner food, adding real butter, not margarine, real butter, beef tallow, bacon grease to your foods like that helps. And yes, you can. Even if you're eating like a sirloin that's lower in fat, you can throw that butter on there to help increase the fat. All right, Jester, you arrived at the store. Emergency restock of steaks because you're out. Catch you next time. Have a good one, Jester. All right, bye, Lainey. Have a good one. And Bryce Biscuits. Chicken has worked for you, but it's always thighs with skin plus butter. Absolutely. And that's right now I've got brown butter bites in my freezer. My wife made those the other day, so I'll have those right before I go to bed. And right after I get up, I'll have a couple of butter bites. Bella, Steak and Butter Gal, is one who talks about having issues with sleeping. And one of the things that she did to help her sleep was to eat butter before going to bed. And there's a couple other people I've heard say the same thing. And I found that if I have a couple of butter bites, a couple teaspoons of butter or tablespoons of butter before I go to bed, I sleep better too. Uncle Willie says you replaced weight training 2 times a week with calisthenics every day. How's it working out? Are you noticing any difference or any improvements in anything by doing that, Uncle Willie? Yeah, bacon grease. We cook like about 6 pounds of bacon a week here, and so we get a lot of the grease. And I've got the container on the stove that collects grease, so we keep it full. Yeah. But we go through it too. We use it a lot for everything. Bacon grease gives great flavor to everything lean. Well, everything really. That's true, Shellbell. It does. It improves the taste of everything. If you cook ground turkey or chicken, you always add some spoons of butter or bacon grease to it. You have to. There's not enough fat in it. We've been so brainwashed, for lack of a better word, conditioned to go with low fat stuff. It's really amazing how people just automatically go with something that's low fat because that's what they've been taught for years. Uncle Willie says you're feeling stronger, more flexible with calisthenics. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with it. So you don't always have to do weights. Having a good mix of it generally works great. Like when in the military, you did 2 days of strength and 3 days of cardio. Breaking them up and doing stuff like that really makes a difference. Oops. You can tell whenever I knock my desk, my camera starts to wobble a little bit. Hour and 43 minutes. It's been a long podcast. But I figured, Larry's out today. They lost their internet, so they're not doing his. I was going to just stay on, see if anybody else wanted to come in and hang out and talk. It was conditioning. Always amazes me that around 85, 15, 90, 10, and 70, 97, 3 ratios are being sold. Yeah, actually for the take these off. Back of my ear bugging me here. What the heck is going on there? The 85-15, I don't have an issue with that. There are times where my body does better on the 85-15 than the 80-20. And I don't know why, but it's good. I do prefer the flavor of the 80-20 and the 76-24 or 75-25. They're actually to me, they have more flavor, they have more fat in them. But the 85 15, I think that's what the Costco ground beef is, 85-15. And I've done really good on the Costco ground beef. Yeah, I do throw some more butter into it. But I even do that with 80-20. I put butter into that too. And it makes a huge difference on how my body does at times. Sometimes, who knows? But you have to find what works great for yours. 85-15, as much fat as you'll find in ground poultry. And that's if they leave all the fat in there. I don't know if they leave it in. I think the poultry of any type, they try to get it as lean as they can. And that's, I guess you could take your own chicken breast, run through a grinder with cubes of beef fat. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Or even with pork fat. Got myself thinking on that one. That's cool that I've dialed into it. It goes to show it's never one size fits all. Yeah. And some of the people out there don't respond well to the 70% or higher of your calories coming from fat. That's Jenny Minich, her husband. It's got a weird name too, or odd name, Goran. He doesn't respond well to the carnivore diet eating high fat above 70%. They had to come down to like 60% fat for his body to start to heal and start to lose weight. He did for 18 months and didn't lose any weight and didn't get any better because he was getting too much fat. So for him, that 85-15 was probably a better ratio, or even the 90-10, so that he was burning more of his fat and it wasn't going through the meat. But he did have to do that, where some people have to have that a little bit less. And I think our bodies, whether I can do the 75-25, or tomorrow when it's got to be a 60-40, I think our bodies change day by day. And that's one of the reasons why some people have issues with it. That's why we have some stalls with it, because we have to find out what's working for us again. And we have to start reading our bodies. And my body's still broke. I still don't get signals telling me that I'm full. So my leptin doesn't work right. So I know other hormones aren't working right. But I'm working on it. One of these days it's going to be right. And my body's going to feel tremendous. Yes, very high fat, especially in ground meats that render down, aren't well tolerated by many. Yep. The liquid fat comes out quicker. Hot liquid fat is difficult to digest for some. Yes. All right. So yeah, there's a long pause there. It appears I lost my video for a little bit. I don't know what's going on. Where were we? Let's see. Down here. Yeah, overwhelming. You feel as it's already a semi-digested state. Yes. That's the liquid fat. People do have trouble with it. And that's why eating like butter bites, even if you're not used to it, you can eat butter bites. But if you eat the liquid fat from ground beef, that might go right through you. Some people have trouble with that. Um, I am very lucky I didn't have that issue. That was really nice for me. Some people are not that lucky, and they have problems like that. They can't digest it. They can't deal with it. The body just doesn't want to work. So, let's see. I just threw that back up there to see if my internet was working or not. And when I clicked on it, I could tell it wasn't working. Retired Rick, how are you? It's nice to see you here. I know you from many chats that I've been in, and I see you in there quite often. It's nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Jeff just finished some bacon and eggs. Yep. It's that time of day, It's time to eat, time to nourish your body. Jeff says, welcome, Rick. So it's here in Central Time Zone, it's, what is it, 11:51? So it's really, really tough to, it's more brunch than breakfast, that's, I guess. Thanks for subscribing. I appreciate it, Rick. Bride's Biscuit says hello. So is John. Yeah. So we've just been hanging out and chatting. Because, it's Sunday morning. There's not a whole lot to do on Sunday morning. I did watch Dr. Kiltz this morning. If y'all don't know, Dr. Kiltz got booted off of YouTube for 5 days. And that really sucked. I enjoy watching his Sunday morning rants. He was on Facebook this morning live instead of YouTube. But I don't think he can come back on his channel until Tuesday. All because somebody said something on YouTube about a cancer treatment that's not authorized in the US. And they took his channel down. Crazy. Rick, you got 12 inches of fresh snow on top of the 3 you already had here in Illinois. Man, what happened to the Bears, man? That sucked. I'm a Bears fan, or was a Bear fan when I used to watch football all the time. I don't watch it all that much, but I think the Bears, that was terrible. They had a great year of comebacks, and they did some great stuff. I wish they would have won that game, because then they'd be playing Seattle today. And my son-in-law, my daughter, my other son-in-law, daughter, they're all Seattle fans, and I'd like the Bears just to beat Seattle just because. Rick says, hi, John. He says, the Bears suck. Yeah, well, you can see I grew up here in North Dakota, and for me, we were force-fed Minnesota Vikings for as long as I can remember. Growing up as a child, every Sunday was about the Vikings. And I started liking the Bears because the Bears would beat the Vikings. So I had to have a team that would win. I mean, just because you can go to the Super Bowl and lose doesn't make you a good team. They had some good players. They had some good teams, but the Vikings just never really made what they should have been out of any of their teams. But the Bears, hey, they've done something the Vikings never have, and that's they've won Super Bowls. So, and the 85-86 season where the Bears took the Super Bowl. What was it? Or was it 86, 87? Which one was it? When the Bears won with Jim McMahon in the fridge, and they didn't give Walter Payton that touchdown, which that was a travesty. I got to watch that mostly from my college dorm as I was packing my stuff and leaving and going back home because I got kicked out of my first college. I didn't get kicked out of it as much as I transferred and then had to go talk to the dean and then got told that I was going to be kicked out. And I told him, oh, I've already put in my paperwork to transfer to go someplace else. So I don't care. Rick, you're dehydrating some pepper bacon today. Made yogurt yesterday. Pepper bacon dehydrating? That's awesome. Making bacon jerky. I've actually done that where I've taken just regular bacon and threw it in my dehydrator and dehydrated it. Sometimes it's all right. Sometimes I don't like it. But you take the shabu shabu from Costco, and I've dehydrated them strips whole. Oh my goodness, were they good? Add just, of course, Redmond salt onto it, or what the hell is that other stuff called? Pluck, the spicy pluck. That was some really good. Yeah, bacon jerky. Bacon jerky is good. I have to be in the mood for it. Kind of like it. The shabu shabu when it's dehydrated and it's done till it's, really dry it out to the point that it falls apart is where I like it. And then just heavily salted or with the pluck seasoning, the spicy mild. That was really good on it. Or one of the people that I follow on YouTube here is the Carnivore Chef. He's got some really good videos, and he's got some great seasonings too. If you never looked up Carnivore Companion, I'd highly recommend looking up Carnivore Companion. Here's a link to it. But if you go to Carnivore Companion, he's got 5 seasonings, and yep, a lot of it's made from plant, but it's salt based. There's no sugar. There's no really bad ingredients. The one I have to use most sparingly is the taco seasoning. There's something in taco seasoning itself that doesn't agree with me, and if I use too much of it, I end up hurting. You try that next time that you do a meat haul. Get some shabu shabu and dehydrate it into beef sticks. That's what do they call that? Carnivore chips or carnivore. There's a company out there that does that. They take bigger pieces of meat and they dehydrate it. Yeah, you can season as you want. I use the Gator Bite and the smokestack when I did that, and that stuff turned out fabulous. It was some of the most tasty jerky I've had. See, can I share the screen? Share. Here we go. I put a link in the comments, but this is the website Carnivore Companion, and these are the seasonings that Reed has on that, and they're absolutely fantastic. I would recommend anybody want to try these, definitely try them. I'm waiting for Larry to do his video on these because he was going to do one on what he thought of these. The steak dust is absolutely delicious on steaks. The Gator Bite does have a little bit of a bite to it. Smokestack, I really like the smokestack on pork. So like pork ribs, pork butt came out really nice. The spicy jalapeno ranch, that stuff is This is really good. The spicy ranch has a jalapeno kick to it. It's actually pretty damn good. And then the taco seasoning, you can overdo that. It did make me hurt the last time I had it, but I used too much of it. Just didn't quite do enough ground beef. It's delicious. Yeah, I like Reed's stuff. He's got some really good recipes. I've been trying a lot of his different things to see what works for me and what doesn't. Dun, dun, dun. What the heck did I just do now? Oh, let's see. There we go. Technical difficulties with the operator. But, well, it's 12 o'clock. I've been doing this for just over 2 hours now. I actually am going to go to a different eating now. It's going to be the first time I've done this one. Let me see. Pull this up. I've been watching the Carnivore Teacher Alpha. Sunday mornings, he does a live stream with George Goodenough and Stephanie Taylor. Today they have Robin Heron, Carnivore's grandma, on, and they call it Carnivore Sunday School. I put that link in the description in the chat right now. That's where I'm going to head over to that. You guys have a great night. Stay warm. It is cold out there, and there's some nasty weather throughout the country. So y'all be careful, especially if you got to go outside. Take care, and we'll see you again here sometime next week.